All right, so recording, I just started recording. So those of you receiving the recording, I apologize. You missed about the first 2 minutes. So I received this intuitive guidance. So welcome to Empowered Emotions Masterclass for you receiving the recording to really help with emotional intelligence because I know how much it's transformed my life, truly. And I am not immune to not feeling things and the bad feelings, right? And so what I know to be true is that there's hidden messages and gifts in all of the emotions that are coming up. And a couple of the women that are on Zoom tonight were in my Rebel Goddess course. And so they now know so well that, oh my gosh, there's so much here to be unlayered. And there's so much that I shut down for a long time, or I was too much. Felt too much, right? And that was bad. And so we've made feelings mean all of these things when in reality, when we can allow them, and I'm going to get more into this, there's so much gift and messages in that allowance. So let me just text. Hi, say hi as you come on. Hello, hello, hello. I'm so glad you all are here. So I am going to share my screen with you after I minimize this bad boy. And we are gonna rock and roll. I'm so excited to be here. I'm so excited to share this. I truly feel like the more, and I know that the more, there we go. Oh, let me turn down my, if you are on, make sure you come in muted, please, if you're on Zoom, just so you don't echo back to me. Hello, if you're on Zoom, I'm so glad you're here. Yay, yay, yay. I love it. Yeah, so what I know to be true is when we show up emotionally intelligent, especially us women, because we have been told for way too long that we are crazy, right? We're crazy, they're emotional. Every 28 days, you go blah, 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 blah. And men, what you don't realize either, and what we have not been taught, is that there's power in that. There's power in the fact that we go through these really beautiful emotional waves and that we allow ourselves to feel them. But we've been shamed for so long in feeling what we feel. And not even just women, but men too. You're supposed to be tough. You're not supposed to cry. You're supposed to be always the protector, not be vulnerable. And women, it's like we can be vulnerable, but only in the right spaces. But then we have to be moms and mother. Being a mother, whether you are a mother of a biological child or you mother people around you, in itself is actually more of a masculine energy, an empowered masculine energy, but it's the provider, the protector. And so emotions have been identified as being really feminine. And while they are, that's not a bad thing. They're here to serve us and we're here to have a human experience. So let's talk about that. So who the heck am I? Hi. Hi. Hello. My name is Fallon. I go by Fallon J. My full name is Fallon J. Rudisil, but I am an intuitive guide. I'm a healer by nature. Anybody that's been around me physically, but I would even say in this environment online, I have a very healing energy. And it took me a long time to really understand and own that and let that be okay without feeling like, what are people going to think if I say I have a healing energy? But that's just one of my gifts, right? We all have our beautiful gifts. Christina Aguilera can blow the top off of a roof. I cannot, that is not my gift. But what I can do and what I do well is I hold space and I guide. I guide women really well through their emotional self, through their shadow self to a deeper place of self-love. And self-love, I feel like, has become such a movement that we actually say we love ourselves. But what I have found is that we're still secretly really hard on ourselves. We're still not enough in the mirror. We're still not doing enough. We're doing too much. We have all of these stories and all of this heaviness that just swirl around in our worlds. And to me, what I know to be true is operating in that energy is not self-love. And so my purpose is truly to help women and guide them from where they are to where they desire to be. So that sounds like really simple, right? But when you really think about times in your life that you've transformed, that you've healed, that you're like, oh, I am not the woman, I am not the man that I was 5-10 years ago. How did you get there? What happened, right? And so often what ends up happening is painful change. Things that their growth, these growth periods of heartbreaks, of losing jobs, of all kinds of things that life delivers, the shit. And so the shit is really fertilizing though. And so my superpower is to really take women where they're at and they have this vision, right? Whether it's a business, whether it's showing up in their relationships different, but they just know something's got to change. Like, I cannot exist in this anymore. It's not working for me. Staying comfortable is actually becoming more painful than the growth that I'm desiring, but I don't know how to get there. I know how to get you there. And what it is, it's actually the unlayering of you finding your true north, because you do know how to get there. But we all need guides, right? I can look at a map all day long when I go to Sedona, the canyons of Sedona. But man, I had a guide when I went, and I felt so much more comfortable walking the canyons with somebody that knew the route, that could hold me, that could say, hey, up here's a little bit of a sharp turn, stuff like that. So that is the work I'm here to do, is I am your guide back to yourself. And any good healer, any good guide, any good way shower, anybody that does the work that I do, any good coach is always going to guide you back to yourself, because eventually one day I don't want you to need me. And what I recognize is the work that I have done with so many of my clients is they go on and they start to do this work in their own way, whether it's in the office, with their families. And a lot of women end up branching out in their business to do this work after working with me. And that is the beautiful ripple effect of all of this. And I love, love, love it. And so I specialize in shadow work, which is a lot of what the emotional self offers, is we kind of hide, which is your shadow. Inner child work, like I said, self-love. In fact, it was a few months ago, I was taking a bath and I received such a beautiful download in the bathtub. I always get like the best messages when I'm bathing. It's such a funny space, but water for me is such a conduit of just receiving. That's where I birthed Rebel Goddess. I was in the bathtub and I was like, oh my gosh, I just had this vision. And it's so beautiful. So I was in the bathtub and I was really loving on myself. Just really just like, Fallon, like, be gentle on yourself, because I'd been being really hard on myself. And so I was being really soft with myself and just reminding myself how good I'm doing, and really practicing self-love. And what kind of was whispered to me was, you are here to remind women of how to truly love themselves. And so I believe truly that is my calling at the core of all of it. That at the very core of all of my work is to give you permission to be you, and that you really do have the tools. You have everything you need inside of you. I get to be your guide, but that every part of you gets to be loved. Every morsel, every cell, every insecurity, everything that seems wrong, you get to love you. And so I do that through these different modalities, but also working with your angels and your guides and your galactic teams, and always reminding you to listen to your intuition, that no matter what I say or do, if it doesn't feel true for you, that's okay. And so what I want to guide you and remind you to remember throughout this masterclass is, take what resonates, take what feels good, take what resonates. If something ruffles you, just pay attention to it. If something doesn't feel true for you, just set it to the side, because maybe down the road it will feel true, but maybe it won't right now. So always, always honor what feels good for you. And in order to do that, you've got to be in your body. So what I'm also going to ask you through this masterclass tonight, while I share this beautiful space with all of you, I'm so excited, is to be present. Try not to multitask, because multitasking can actually be part of our self-sabotaging habits when we're only allowing ourselves to receive so much. Like, I can only receive so much. So stay open. I'm going to send out this recording to everybody. And so you get to review these slides. So stay open mind, open heart, ask your higher self to help you receive that which you most need. And I have already asked my higher self to connect with all of you, whether it's in this now moment or you're watching the recording, because it's always in this now moment. So that I may deliver that which you most need. And I'm here for you. So if you have any questions, I was with a client today. We were kind of celebrating her wrap up of working with me since August. And we were at the beach and I forgot to put on some sunblock right there. And, she's like, it's interesting being in your courses because you're always so open to taking questions, but most people don't have questions until later when things have actually processed. And I said, you're right. And I don't quite know how to accommodate that on like a live stream in a Zoom room, right? And so when you have questions that come up after this class, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, well, tonight I will go to sleep after this, but tomorrow and then the coming week, DM me or join my Flourishing Soul Sisterhood Facebook group. Post questions there, because I am not the only answer holder here. I have beautiful beings that I surround myself by that can also help answer and help support you. But the thing is, you got to ask, right? You've got to ask in order to receive. So something else I say about myself is being an empath. I have always said this before I knew what the word empath was. I always said I feel between the lines, because it was the only way that I could describe how I was able to like tune into the person next to me and be like, hey, what's going on? And like, how the freak did you know? I'm like, it is like, it's written all over you, but you might think that you're like just so stealth and like, I'm fine. I will always know when you're not fine. Always. It's just like this radar. And I used to call it a gift and a curse because it used to throw people off. Like, I didn't know the right times to ask. I would ask in like the middle of a workout, like, hey, you seem kind of off tonight. Are you okay? Do you need support? And that maybe not how it was the best time. So, I fine-tuned that practice, but I'm really amazing at holding women, holding you where you're at, knowing what's really going on, knowing what's going on in your body, where you're carrying emotional weight, all of it. And so I really guide my clients through their deepest healing and most expansive living. So, hello, hi Ashley, hey Bailey, hi Jess, you do feel between the lines. Hey Charles, I'm just checking my Facebook really quick. Love, love, love all of you. I'm so glad you're here. This is going to be such a beautiful, powerful masterclass. And that's not the button to go to the next screen, Fallon. There we go. And we're here. I'm going to have to keep moving around my little camera. I'm going to move this little bad boy around back and forth. So tonight, what I will be covering, honestly, I really wish I could get it all. I wish I could get it all in 90 minutes. And even tonight, I'm going to be pushing 90 minutes, because those of you that work with me before know that I will always honor time. Always, always, I will honor your time. And I get a lot that comes through. I sit here with a block of selenite under my feet, and I open myself up as a pure conduit under the light of God, the true source, to really be able to deliver that which you most need. And so I will also get wordy, and I may get off track of what the slides offer, but it will all come back full circle and be really delivered to you from my heart to yours sincerely. This is my gift to you, because I feel and know in my heart that this work is needed. And the more people we can get in touch with their emotions and the allowance of them, and knowing which emotions are here to help us heal and which emotions are just the ego and the BS trying to hold us back, the better the world gets. And so I'm going to do my best to stay, in order and online. But as I also look at questions and things coming up, I want to be able to answer your questions. I want to be able to answer or support you how I can during this class. All right. So don't be afraid to chime in, share your stuff. And if this is starting to land for you and resonate and you're like, oh man, this is amazing, please share this video. Please share, or tag your friends below. The more people that can have access to this information and allow themselves to receive it, honestly, the collective feels better. They're like, oh shit, I'm normal. These roller coasters are normal. But my intention for you is to know that you don't have to ride the actual roller coaster. It's easier to witness the roller coaster happening inside of you versus buckling in and being like, oh shit, here we go again. So that is my intention, is for you to really actually witness the highs and the lows and let yourself feel them, but without getting so wrapped up in them that you become a part of the chaos and the tornado and the craziness. You are still able to be kind of that eye in the storm as you navigate whatever's coming up for you. And so we'll be covering emotions are human experience, right? Like, we're not going to be escaping them anytime soon. They're so much a part of they're part of why we came here. We wanted to come to Earth to be a human being, so that we could feel, we could kiss each other's lips, we could make love, we can hug, we can cry, and we can feel the tears streaming down our face. Like, that is so much of why we came here. Gosh, look at me already getting into it. And so subconscious brain, the fear and the ego, feeling the feelings in the body. You got to feel those feelings, right? Resisting and denying emotions and how that holds you back and what that actually means. The questions to ask yourself to then step into conscious communication with yourself and your partners, whatever kind of relationship you're in, so that so you don't feel like you're reacting all the time or taking things personal all of the time. Taking radical responsibility for what is yours, because of what I'm going to tell you is everything is yours. Everything is mine. And whatever you experience, it's yours. You're the source of your experience. You're the creator of your experience. And that is a tough pill to swallow, even for me, even though I believe that to my core. Sometimes I'm like, hang on, I did this? Are you sure? Because this sucks. And I'm pretty sure I would not have planned this for myself. But we did and we do, based on our belief systems, based on our subconscious brain, based on the part of ourselves, the 95% of ourselves that we're not even aware of, but that's what drives the car, right? So emotions are your medicine, and there's so much more. So keep your journal to keep notes, but my vision for you would not to be so head down taking notes, because that's who I usually am. But when I open myself to listening and just kind of jotting down, like, oh man, I need to remember that. Oh, I want to go back and listen to that. That feels better as I'm able to be more present in the class and the conversation, and not so caught up in trying to get it all down, right? So I can retain it, because you're going to retain exactly what you most need. So my little beautiful Zoomies, I'm not going to be able to check the chat with you for a minute. So Tracy's, oh, my sweet Tracy, I'm going to leave it up to you, Trace. If there's anything that comes, I'm giving you a job, Tracy. If there's anything that comes up in Zoom chat that you feel is relevant, will you just pop it in Facebook, and I'll just keep checking that chat. I forgot, when I'm sharing my screen, I can't do both. Yeah, so welcome. Oh, let's talk about emotions and the subconscious brain. Alarm's getting ready to go off right here. Oh, it's not? Okay, good. I set an alarm on my phone every hour to check in with myself. I used to do it, and then I stopped doing it. I started doing it again, and then I forgot that there's going to be an alarm that keeps going off if I don't stop that bad boy. So emotions and the subconscious brain. So Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches this really, really well. And one thing you will find too, that I will try to always give you reference points of where I have learned, what I have learned and what I have integrated, so that you can always go back to the originator, right? And explore more if it's something that calls to you. So Dr. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about the subconscious brain in his, what is his book? Something, no, God, I always forget this stuff when I'm on live. It doesn't matter. Dr. Joe Dispenza. And that your emotions are tied to your subconscious brain. And your subconscious brain is what drives the car. It is the 2 to 7 year old self that drives the car every single day. We operate 95% of our life from our subconscious brain. Well, how the heck are we supposed to learn new habits and create new beliefs and dismantle old patterns if we're not even aware of what they are? And I remember telling my mom recently, I was like, God, sometimes it just feels like such a joke. And my friend Jess will always be like, it's the cosmic joke, right? Like, oh, you're here to transcend and learn and grow, but not be conscious of what is the driving force behind all of it. So the beautiful thing is that we do have access to our subconscious brains, even when we're awake, through our emotions. And so your emotions are truly the subconscious patterns and the beliefs and the traumas that exist in your body, and that is connected to what is really going on in the patterns of your subconscious brain. And we've been taught to really think our way through life. Think, not feel. Feeling is too much. And what it really probably came from was the fact that people couldn't handle their emotions, or let alone other people's emotions. It was a lot. And that is, men are kind of wired that way. They want to provide and give everything they can to their partner without having to manage them emotionally. And women, we turn to men, our partners, to help us manage our emotions when they're like, I don't want any part of that, which is why women need women. Men need men. We need our same sex to, like, women, we love to talk in circles and get things out, and that's how we kind of make sense, and men don't, and that's okay. So I really firmly believe that it's time to stop thinking our way through life and drop into feeling our way through life, because it's in our bodies that we carry our intuition, that our hearts are the first things to beat, obviously, because that's what hearts do, when we're in the womb. And once we are in the womb, we actually begin to start receiving information, beliefs, energy of of our life, of what our existence is going to be. And so then we begin to that's where it all starts. You would think that it starts when you are born. Like, oh, then my parents teach me and I watch them for what is okay, what is accepted, what is not okay, despite what my truth is, despite how I really feel. But it really begins to start, it starts in the womb. And so we've been taught to feelings are bad, and especially the bad feelings. So, gosh, don't even think about anger and overwhelm and shame and guilt. Although shame and guilt also sometimes get put on a pedestal as a good thing when they're really low vibrational feeling. And so, the bad feelings, they're not bad. They're there as feedback. Emotions and feelings are your feedback, which is why I say there's medicine in them, because not only do they let you know what's going on in the subconscious brain, what's being triggered. Is it an old trauma from the past? Is it a belief that's being infringed upon? So the emotions allow us to know truly what the F is going on. And they're our guidance system. Emotions are our feedback. They're letting us know what is reverberating back, what we're creating, how we feel about what we're creating, because there's a delay, right? So we create, we think, and we feel, and that creates our reality. Just to really bring it to basics here, to foundations, which basics doesn't mean, simple by any means. We think and we feel, and then our reality is created, but there's a lag. And so then we experience our reality based on what we were just thinking and feeling. So because we get in these patterns in our subconscious brain, and our ego wants to keep us safe, the subconscious brain is then related to the ego, we continue to create the same reality because it's all that we know, but we want to change. But the job of the ego and fear is to keep us safe. And so fear is feedback of actually where you want to grow. And fear and resistance, the bigger the fear, the bigger the resistance, is the importance of how important you feel where you want to go is. So if you're it's kind of scary and you're kind of experiencing resistance, and I want to get a little bit more into resistance a little bit later. But if you're kind of scared and you're kind of experiencing resistance and it's kind of important to you, it's like your ego's fighting against maybe the next step. So your fear and resistance is your guide, but it's also your ego and your subconscious brain saying, no, don't go that way, because we've never made that right turn. So we don't actually know if there's a cliff on the other side. When intuitively your feelings are going to say, oh my God, let's make the right turn. I'm so, so, so excited. This feels really, really good. Well, then right after that, you'll have excitement first, and then right after that, the ego, fear, subconscious brain is going to say, hold on, we're wearing, the safety vest. Did you ever do safety patrol in elementary? I was safety patrol, hang on, whoa, stop. No, ma'am. I don't care how excited you are about that. You know how to navigate here, and you've been in this circle for the last 20 years. We're comfortable with this circle. Yeah, it's painful and it's annoying. We're sick of it, but we know the route, we know the scenery, so let's just stay here. And this is what keeps people not losing weight, not eating healthy. It's a pattern. Not investing in themselves, not hiring the coach, not hiring the healer, not taking the course, not going back to school. This is what keeps people stuck, right? And the ego is also fearful of what people will think if they go outside of the circle they've created. Oh, well, who is she to do that? Who is he? And that is more about projecting, which we'll also get into later, but we're scared of that. We are scared of what people think. And as much as we'd love to say, oh, I don't care what people think, we care what people think. We do. And that is also part of the human experience. But remember that anytime you're experiencing fear and resistance, it's a marker. It's a guide of where you actually are meant to go. It's the growth. It's the edge. And so you can start to utilize your emotions to give you oh, that's what that is. I'm really scared to do this. Or I only let myself do little things that scare me. And that's okay too. But the bigger the fear, the bigger the resistance is how important it is to you. So that really lets you know that level of importance. So it's all feedback. I'm checking my Facebook. Yeah, it feels good. It feels unsafe to be rejected. Yes, so unsafe. Oh my God, because if I'm rejected, then what if I'm abandoned? And then what if I'm not loved? That's some real stuff as human beings. Because all we want is to be loved and all we want is to be accepted. How many of you out there feel like you're still looking for your soul family, still feel like you're looking for your tribe? Some of you have found it and you're like, oh, this is amazing. And some of you out there are still like, I just want to find my people. Because we're pack, you know, we're pack people. We're like wolves. We want to run together and we want to experience together. We want to protect it. We want to lead and we want to play our part in the collective. But sometimes when we don't know where that fits in, or we're getting ready to step out of our normal part we play, oh my gosh, what if I am rejected? And that's scary. That's really scary. And it's not to say that you stay. You're going to have to experience, you know, some potential rejection. But as always, most of you already know that if you're experiencing rejection, those just aren't your people anymore. And that's might be painful, but that's okay. So fear is your guide, your ego, it's your guide. And what I always say is, hey, ego, like ego exists right about here. Hey, ego, I see you, I feel you. I know we're really scared right now. And I taught my girls from Rebel Goddess this, but we're going anyways. So I don't really know how to let you go yet, because a lot of people, you know, a lot of times, even I'll write this, like, you just got to let go. It's like, sometimes you don't know how to let go. You're like, I don't know. How does that even happen? So then you don't. You just pick up and you carry it all with you. And one day you will know how to let go. One day you will know how to put the luggage down. That is not like, oh, whose suitcase is this that I'm carrying? You will know when you know. But in the meantime, pick it all up. You've been carrying it anyways. Just don't let it keep you stuck where you're at, whatever it is. And so maybe you can share with me. I'm looking at comments. So when I'm looking down, I'm going to just repeat that every time. You guys are going to be like, Fallon, we know you're looking at the comments. Quit telling us. Maybe you can share with me, like, what are you being called to do? What feels big for you, but you're scared of, you know? And maybe it's not even so much something that you're doing as it is maybe even the allowance of feeling, of being here now to be like, I have never allowed myself to feel. Because when we allow ourselves to feel and when we become really aware of our emotions, we then have to take radical responsibility of, oh, I've been playing victim. Oh my gosh, I put guilt and shame on a pedestal. I put it up there as like, oh, you know, to try to like outwin people. Oh, well, that doesn't feel good. Right. And so when we begin to really let our emotions come, we then have to acknowledge that we're going to be really experiencing parts of ourselves that don't feel good. And I call that our shadow. And I mean, I don't call it that. Everyone calls it that. I did not dub this term. Carl Jung did. But we intuitively know that I'm going to be experiencing things that don't feel good. And that is part of the human experience as well. We would not know pleasure if we did not know pain. And so let's talk about what we make emotions mean. So I talked about the bad feelings. Well, why are they bad? Because you don't want to feel them. But there's messages in you feeling them. And so we put obstacles, we put things in our way to say, if I feel this, then that means this. In fact, one of my beautiful clients, I will not say her name, even though she's going to laugh when she hears this. She was in Rebel Goddess, and she was like, my biggest awareness was that it was like, if I do this, then my husband thinks this of me, and then we will not make it. It was something like that. And that was so much meaning that she was putting on an emotion she was having. She was not only deciding that her emotion meant something that her husband like was feeling. So she was then deciding for her husband, like, oh, then he's going to feel this way. That's how he feels about it. And then when he feels about it, then that's what it means about our relationship. So we go around putting like, we have this like label maker that we're like, oh, this emotion means that he's going to leave me. This emotion means that I'm not pretty. This emotion means that I don't have my shit together. This emotion means that I'm too much. This emotion means that I'm never going to be successful. Oh my gosh. Well, no wonder we don't want to feel these bad feelings, because we put so many labels on them. Y'all, they're just markers. They're feedback. Oh my gosh, let's put the label makers down. And it's protection, right? Because if we can label something, then we know how to navigate it. So it's, again, going back to that fear and back to that ego, like, oh, I'm labeling this so I know how to deal with it. But when we can begin to drop into feeling, you can begin to trust yourself that whatever's on the other side of the feeling, you will be okay. and that you will know how to navigate it because you've built in trust in your body. And there's so much, gosh, you guys, there's so many layers to this. There's so many layers because our body also holds the traumas, the patterns from the past. And so, you know, part of the fear and the ego is the emotion, the subconscious brain and the parasympathetic nervous system. And it exists in our muscles. It exists in our the neural pathways, which I talked about, but it exists in our actual tissues. So we have trauma that we're storing in our actual tissue that we're trying to be safe from feeling, or if I feel this, then it means this, because we want to know how to navigate it. But when, and I promise you, when you drop into your body, and you let yourself start doing stuff like this, and you're like, okay, I'm just gonna feel. Oh wow, I'm making this mean this. Okay, I see you, I feel you. And you get to take residence here. You get to exist here for a while. You can be a temporary roommate, but I'm not gonna label you because I'm so tired and drained of putting meaning on everything that I'm feeling or trying to figure out why I'm feeling what I'm feeling. Right? That's so, oh my gosh, like let's put it down. And let's allow our emotions to be a guide, but not like this push and pull factor, right? So, hey Crystal, hey Jennifer, Christina, she says me, Pack, yeah. Hello. I'm so glad you're here. I just feels like this is such a powerful class already. I'm like so excited about this, and I'm on slide 2, and it's 7:30, doing good. So, what we can remember about emotions, and you guys, I'm giving you so much, my beautiful people, I'm giving you so much information. So just take what feels good. And some of this stuff might be repetitive for some of you. And so if it is, ask yourself, oh, why am I learning this deeper? What's the deeper message here, right? I do that all the time. I was listening to a training today, and it was like some repetitive stuff. And I was like, well, I guess I'm meant to integrate it deeper to the woman that I am now, because the woman that learned this a year, 10, 20 years ago, whenever I learned what it is I'm listening to, is not the same woman. So it's time to integrate deeper. That's how I look at that. I'm always a student. In fact, my first coach, Mikkel Rose, she was really all about that. Like, what is wanting to, she didn't say integrate deeper, but she'd always be like, what is coming? Why are you listening to this again? Why are your angels wanting you to hear this again? I was like, oh, I always loved that. I love that. And it's to integrate deeper. So what we can remember is that most of us, if not all of us, I try not to always say all because there's are exceptions, few, projecting. We can only look at the lens through that which we see. Like, we only all have our own lenses, right? So I can only view your life through the lens of my own. And so I've already made all these meanings about my life. I've already made all these beliefs. I already have all these beliefs about my life. So I'm going to have them about yours too, which is why, like, especially in when you enter motherhood realm, you start to see this judgment between mothers. Oh, that's not the right way to raise your kid. I did it this way. Because we can only view things from the limited view that we have from our own lives and the patterns that we've already built up, the beliefs that we've already built up, the truths that we believe are true, and all truths are true. We're all one under God. So everything exists as truth under God. And that is divine love, right? That is divinity. That is like, whew, wow, her truth gets to be true and mine? Then what does that mean about my truth? What does that mean about her truth? You know, so there's a lot of layers of this, but when we can just drop in to say, okay, I don't have to figure all of that out. I am projecting, or him and her are projecting without judgment. So if you know somebody, I feel like they're projecting a little bit. Don't judge, just acknowledge, because you're doing it too. We're all doing the same damn thing. Which is also why it's important to shift out of taking everything personal, instead of just being like, oh, it's feedback, right? Like, that's feedback for where they're at. I could accept it as feedback for my journey, or I don't if it doesn't feel true for me. But when everyone's, operating from their own emotional selves and we're projecting because of our own traumas and our own things, then that is where unconscious communication comes in. We're saying, you made me feel like this. Because of you, I did this, blah, 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 blah. And so we're really pointing blame. We're always pointing blame. He did this, she did this. If only he wouldn't have done this, then this wouldn't have happened. When in reality, if you believe that you are the source of your own experience, then you can start to take radical responsibility for your emotions. Allow yourself to feel what needs to be felt. And I'm going to get into more of what that means. Get grounded. So you can get grounded by breathing. Breath is really grounding. Moving your body is really grounding. Going out on Mother Earth barefoot is really grounding. Drinking water is really grounding. Basically, grounding means pausing. Pause and breathe first and just feel like, oh man, what's coming up? What's coming up? Okay, I am so upset right now. I'm so pissed that you would even say that to me, that this is the conversation that we're having right now after we just talked about this 3 times this week. But when you're changing patterns, the pause and the breathe and the grounding is imperative. So you can understand what is actually happening in your body, but you've got to be in your body to feel it. And we've also been taught so much that it is not safe to be in our bodies. Our bodies don't know. So we look for safety outside of us. That's why we're labeling everything, because we're looking for safety outside of us. But the safety is inside. It's in the actual feeling. It's in the actual allowance of these emotions. And so the way you can kind of start to shift is, how is this happening for me? And this is something that most of you already know, but how much are you actually practicing? We can know and we can practice. There's 2 different things, right? And life is happening through me. Life is happening through me. So powerful, right? And let's see what this next slide says, because you'd think I'd remember, but I go off on my tangent, so I'm trying to stay in online. So good and bad blame. Okay. Chelsea says, and there's always something new. Just have to be looking for it instead of just reaffirming what we already know. Yes, always something new and looking for it. And I think I have this somewhere in here, but since it came up, I'm just going to talk about it. We will always find what we're looking for. So if you're looking for something being wrong, something not working, something's off, you're going to find it. But when you're looking for joy and you're looking for like what's going to go right, and I'm looking for pleasure and I'm looking for guidance and I'm looking for, angel signs, I'm going to find it. So going back to feeling the emotions, the pause and the breathe is so important, because this is, let me move you, sweet pea. Okay, what's going on? It's my first time using a computer. Let me get some water. It's so important because it gives you space and it creates space in your body for the emotions to be felt and for the messages to be revealed. And the messages are generally, this is hitting on a wound, a trauma. This is hitting on an insecurity. This doesn't feel good for whatever reason. And depending on where it's happening in your body, so if it's happening in like your head, your upper body, it's more anger. No, that's wrong. Sadness. Heart is sadness. I don't have them all down. Feel anger, sadness. Anger is like lower. Yes. Anyways, I'll get you the list. But depending on where it's happening in your body, and everyone's a little bit different, but there's like a general rule. Depending on where it's happening in your body gives you an idea of if you're feeling anger, if you're feeling sexual trauma, if you're feeling sadness. And so then you can identify, oh, what does that remind me of? We've actually got to be willing to feel it. And this is the biggest thing, is the allowance of the emotions. So share with me in the chat, do you resist your emotions? Do you try to shift? This is something I've seen a lot, and I am guilty of at one time, trying to shift too quickly, because I'm always like misoptimistic and things are going to be great. And what's the silver lining? And things can feel really good and life is amazing. And I'm just, but sometimes we're denying ourselves feeling what's coming up to be felt. And so, if you're feeling like you have to forcing being happy, then maybe it's something there's a deeper message trying to come up saying, hey, I just want to be seen. So I'm going to keep poking at you, and we're going to keep being sad because you're not paying attention to me. You're not paying attention to this emotion. And it can feel scary, it can feel scary because it's like, but we don't know when the emotion's going to end. And so this is why we like to watch like sad movies or funny movies, but we'll just go with sad for the sake of examples. And Melanie and Layer talks about this too, but we like to watch sad movies because we give ourselves permission to cry and feel the bad feelings or the uncomfortable feelings, because we know there's going to be an end, right? We know there's an end. It's going to be about 2 to 3 hours. 3 hours, it's Titanic. But then it's, and then at the end, there's probably going to be a wrap up in a bow that makes you feel better and everything's going to be great. That feels safe. But allowing yourselves to feel maybe sadness or anger, we get scared because we don't know where the end is. What if there's no end? But there's always, nothing lasts forever. And when you allow yourself to start feeling it in a safe way, a way that feels safe for you, you start to receive these new awarenesses, these new guidance, this new guidance system, and you start to recreate trust in your body. So the traumas that your tissues and your nervous system have held onto start to say, oh, she's listening. Oh, she's hearing me. He's hearing me. Look. Oh, are you proud of me? I'm proud of you. Tracy, I'm proud of you. She's listening to me. Oh my gosh. So now we can start to release more. That's kind of the way that it works. But what also happens is not only have you built up trust in your body when you allow yourself to feel this, you have also built in trust with yourself. And anytime you have made a promise to yourself, or anytime you have not allowed yourself to feel what you're feeling, you have created more distrust, not only with yourself in general, but also in your body. But you can reverse that so quickly by creating trust through feeling, through saying, hey, I feel you. I'm here for you. I'm so sorry, man. I've abandoned you for 38 years and I did not know what I didn't know, but I'm here now. And you talk to your body and you talk to your emotions and you let them talk to you, because pain is a part of growth, but suffering is a choice. Suffering is the resistance to pain. Suffering is saying, I'm going to resist this. I don't want to feel this. F this. It's too much. I don't know when the end is. I don't have time for this. I'm busy. I don't have time. Well, guess what? You're going to keep being poked at until you acknowledge what you're feeling. And so pain is not something that we're going to escape because it's a part of the human experience. Suffering, we can choose. We can choose to resist, or we can choose to say, oh, I'm just going to feel it. Oh, I'm just going to feel it. And in Rebel Goddess, I teach a lot of embodiment practices for how to feel it in a way, and honoring that inner wild woman. But there's so many ways. And obviously the most, obvious ways are to let the emotions flow. If you've got to scream and you're angry, just get a pillow. If you're sad, cry. And, there's a few things to allowing emotions. Feeling them and asking, what is the message in them? What's going on? What's like letting them talk to you. And also when you start to really do this work deeper, or you have a healer and a guide that can kind of help you through this, therapist, my friend Jess, she does really beautiful embodiment work. She owns Yothera, so look her up. She does beautiful work, and you can book with her online. But sometimes the emotions don't have a name. They're just there. Like that, I was honestly feeling that way this morning. I just was like, I don't know what this is. I can't even label it as like sadness or anger or irritants, because it's kind of like this big ball of all of it, but then none of it. But I know it's uncomfortable, but I know I want to feel it. Because if I don't, it'll just kind of be this nagging thorn in my side all day long. And so sometimes it's just something that our human brains aren't going to be able to label or comprehend, but our body can feel it. Our body is here to feel that a lot of what we can't understand with our human mind at this point. And that's okay too. And so you can get out a journal, you can meditate, you can call a friend, there's so many beautiful practices you can do, breath work, to allow these emotions to move, but not to get rid of them, right? Not to let's hurry up this process. I got shit to do. I want to get rid of you. That is not why we're doing this. We're doing it because we love ourselves, right? What other reason? Because you're perfect in this moment. You are perfect in your life right now. There's nothing wrong with you. Love yourself. That is why we do this work. So, we get triggered. Our partners, if you're in a relationship, you're probably triggered all the time. You mother trucker. Friendships can trigger us. But triggers are the invites to what wants to be changed. Triggers are the invites to what wants to be healed, you know? And so something I used to do, and I ask this question here, do you avoid, I'm like, what did I say? This is why I can't even read what I write. So I just have to like go to the topics and it just kind of flow. Do you avoid feeling your emotions or acknowledging your emotions or talking about your emotions because you fear confrontation? And I used to associate speaking my truth, speaking my feelings with confrontation because I didn't want to make the other person uncomfortable. And I also didn't know if they had a reaction to what I was saying and feeling, how was I going to then feel? And that would feel confrontational to me. What a cycle, right? I mean, I lived most of my life like that until I learned conscious communication, until I learned how to speak my truth from a place of grounded love, until I learned how to be unapologetic in my truth, but not to blame anybody, to bring all the fingers back at me and take radical responsibility for what I've created for my feelings. Because you did not make me feel any way. I chose to feel this way based on actions or words that were said. But we fear speaking up. And there's like such a movement, right? Like, speak your truth, speak your truth. Well, how? How if you don't feel safe in that? You start small. There's power in the baby steps. You say something, you maybe take the pause and the breathe and you say, I notice I'm feeling this way. I'm going to step away right now. You know, or I notice I feel this way, and you just start small and you start to speak your truth to yourself first. What time is it? I feel like this is flying by. So, you know, ask yourself, am I avoiding my emotions, and I'm avoiding my truth for even myself because I'm afraid of it all? That's normal. And it's also not serving you anymore. Just plain and simple. Plain and simple. It's probably giving you space to complain, space to still stay in the old pattern, stay in the circle, and then say, I'm trying. Well, let's try to drink a glass of water. I'm just going to try to drink it. I'm trying really hard to drink this water. Right? Like, you just do. And I shouldn't even, I won't even minimize it with just, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal to change these patterns and these beliefs and to allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to be vulnerable enough to feel. That's a big deal. So you get to pat yourself on the butt, like, oh, I'm doing, like, yes. You know, and I talked about celebration on Monday, so you can go back and watch that live. But part of a lot of this is celebrating too, where we have these little milestones or big ones. So allowing your emotions is also reframing your language around how you feel. So rather than saying, I got to get it together, what the hell is wrong with me? I'm a mess. I shouldn't be this way. I'm feeling this. I can't believe blah, 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 blah. And you're always shaming yourself. You know, I put this beautiful quote to the side. Your emotions are a shame-free zone. Love yourself through the process of deeper discovery. I came up with that all by myself the other day. No, but in all like seriousness, do you feel that when you talk to yourself that way, like, oh, get it together, I should really be stronger than this, blah, 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 that feels like self-love? It doesn't, right? It feels heavy and yucky and gross. So much gold. Oh, Chelsea, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so, so glad. I'm wanting to give it to you all. I'm so, so glad. So feelings, your emotions are inarguable. They're true because they're happening for you. So it doesn't mean that we use them against other people, but it does mean that we get to acknowledge that they're valid. I am validated in how I feel because it's how I feel. And I'm not going to use that to like be manipulative words. And I'm not going to use it to like play games, but I am going to use it to just love myself deeper. Because like I said earlier, all truths are true. Ooh, that's like deep. When you really get into that one, start inviting that mantra into your life. All truths are true. Oh, well, then that means I've got to pause and not only listen to myself, but then start to listen to others, right? That I love, that I want them, I want their truth to feel true. You know, I want their feelings to feel valid. I want to see them. There's nothing like being seen, right? And I love it. I love to see people. And I love when other people start to really pass that on of like, I see you, you know? But we can't see each other until we see ourselves first by feeling and getting into our bodies and being in our bodies and feeling, starting to rediscover what it's like to feel safe in our bodies. feel safe in our emotions, even when they're scary, but know that we're grounded, we're safe, we're okay. Because when we look around us, everything is still here. I'm okay. You know, it can feel like a lot, and that's also okay. So let's, resistance equals suffering. So, oh, good. When you're resisting what you're feeling creates the suffering. So when you're like, I don't want to feel this, and it's coming up and still like it's painful, but you're denying yourself to feel the pain. Does that make sense? So maybe that's a better way to put it. Then that's where the suffering is a choice, because you're not allowing yourself to feel the pain. So you're saying, nope, I'm resisting this. I'm not, roadblocks up. This pain is coming through. I'm going to build a dam, right? And that's where the suffering comes in for human emotions, for us as humans. So I hope that clears that up. Thank you for asking. So let's see. So taking responsibility, I talked about this, and I'm going to continue to talk about this because one of the most powerful things you can do tonight, tomorrow, as you move forward in your beautiful lives after this, is taking radical responsibility for how you think, feel, and believe. And so you can ask yourself, does this belief still feel true for me? Right? Whatever's coming up, whatever you have always subscribed to, whatever you put in your little mailing or thing, say, I'm going to subscribe to this belief. I subscribed to it for the last, 10 years. I learned this when I was this age, and that's what I believe. That's what is true. And this is how I am, and I'm not going to change. Yikes. Okay. Well, what if you just stay open? You say, does this belief still feel true for me? And you know that it feels true because it will feel good. It will feel light. It'll feel nice. If it's not still true for you, it'll feel heavy. It'll feel like contracting. It'll feel like maybe like kind of something in the pit of your stomach doesn't feel right, And again, I remind you, and I put it in the last slide on purpose. How is this happening for you in your life right now? What is coming up for you? What is coming up that's driving you crazy, that doesn't feel good, that you're like, I don't feel anything. I don't like to feel. I don't want to do this work. How is it happening for you? And life is happening through you. So. Let's see. Okay, good. We are on track, my loves. I found this little thing right here. Real love feels pure and authentic. And I was like, yes. And authenticity, right? We know people are authentic, not just because they're transparent, but because they allow themselves to feel and be exactly who they are. And that is the journey of empowered emotions. You naturally feel more magnetic. You feel more comfortable in your own skin when you actually allow yourself to feel and be exactly what you are in that moment, versus trying to put on the mask, trying to be buttoned up, trying to have it together, trying not to be the mess, right? When you're just like, who you are. Like, I don't know. I feel weird today. I'm not loving, I'm not loving all of this. I'm going to rock with it. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to feel it. And I cried today, or I revisited a trauma today and didn't even expect it to come up during my journaling session. And like, that's like makes you real. And that's why you are attracted to who you're attracted to. Like maybe you have certain people that you love to follow online, right? Because they're operating in the real love for themselves first. So something I want to ask you as we bring this back on track, because what do I have, like 30 minutes? 30 minutes, yep. Awesome. And I totally forgot to say, I have a giveaway at the end. I have a giveaway. A beautiful giveaway for you. So stay tuned. But it's for all of you. And it's going on until Sunday. So it'll be perfect. But when you're moving through your life and you're starting to feel, you're like really like, I'm going to let myself feel this. And at first it might feel messy. You might not know how to like deal with all of it. It's okay. Just take a little bit at a time. But notice, are you looking for blame with your emotions when you're feeling what you're feeling? Are you looking to put it on somebody to say, oh, I feel this way because of this, or you, or that? Or are you looking for a solution? Right? And so that the way you can identify that, like through like hindsight, is to say, how do I want to put this? Okay, it's right in front of me. So whenever there's a feeling of disappointment, you had an expectation or attachment to an outcome. So you probably were looking maybe not so much for a solution, right? But even further than that, anytime something comes up or somebody didn't respond the way that you thought they were going to respond, you can say, oh me, oh me, oh my, I was attached to an outcome, or I had an expectation of this person that maybe I didn't communicate to them, or maybe I didn't even realize I had. Well, why did I have that expectation? So no matter what comes up in your field, in your emotions, and when I say in your field, I'm talking about like this inner body, just start to be curious. Don't start to go down this road with a bunch of judgment. You know, the more we can stay curious and the more we can really just love ourselves through it, the easier this gets to be, the less suffering you have to endure. So also, when something's coming up and your answer is, and it's around your emotions and it's around your feelings, and your answer gets to, I don't know, that is a conditioning that you have created to stop yourself from going deeper, from stopping yourself to getting to the root of what the emotion is, what it is that you're feeling. It's again, the safety patrol is out saying, oh, hang on, we don't usually go this deep. We'll let ourselves feel to here, but you're wanting to go here. And there's a lot of stuff here that you haven't unlayered, you haven't uncovered. So we're just going to respond with, I don't know. I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know. And it doesn't mean we shame it. It doesn't mean we say like, oh shit, I just said, I say, I don't know all the time because I don't know. It just means we get to say, oh, I'm stopping myself from going deeper into myself. I'm stopping myself from loving myself even deeper. So start to notice, where are you stopping yourself with the I don't know? And I talked about this a little bit. Thank you, Chelsea. I love you so much. So much root action. Love it. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So I talked about this earlier, but what masks are you wearing? Because this is a part of how we have decided that some emotions are okay to feel and some emotions are not okay to feel. And that we've been told that it's okay to show up this way, but it's not okay to show up that way. So then we're like, okay, well, I guess I have this mask. I'm going to wear this one at work. And then, this one's kind of fun. I'm going to wear this one with my friends. And then this one I'm going to wear when I'm with my lover. Oh my gosh, that's so much to keep up with. But we do it because we've learned how to be accepted and loved for those masks. Because we were taught that that's what was expected of us, to be loved, and that all of our other feelings weren't valid. There weren't space for them. They had no room here. Your poor, sweet inner child. How draining we're drained. This is our society. We're drained, you guys. We're drained of trying to keep up. We just want real connection. And ironically enough, we know this. And now we're in quarantine, right? And I mean, things are opening back up. Oh my gosh. So we crave authenticity. We crave being able to be vulnerable, but then we haven't even allowed ourselves to be vulnerable with ourselves by feeling our emotions. So you just get to start to say, oh my gosh, what mask am I wearing? How am I realizing I'll be accepted? And it's so subtle, right? The first kind of little work I did around this was, so those of you that, if anybody's ever hung out with me personally, I'm fairly funny. Like, I'm actually a funny human being. I'm pretty witty. And I noticed that when I was out with a certain crowd, I always kind of felt like I had to be like, not just bubbly and cheerful, but also like witty and funny. I mean, nobody expected that of me. I mean, that's just what I felt like I needed to do to be accepted. And I noticed, and it came from when I was younger and I, was really insecure around good looking men. Comes from, I have a really, really good looking father, like triple take kind of, he's very good looking. But I was rejected by him a lot growing up. And so of course then, like, if you're, then I'm going to be rejected by all handsome men. So what I found was, if I was funny and clever and witty and kind of like that, I could not only feel comfortable in my own skin, but I could also feel worthy of having a good looking man around me, because I wasn't maybe pretty enough or smart enough for any of the other things. So that was one of the masks I used to really wear of, oh, I got to turn it on. And it's subtle, right? Like, I wasn't aware that that's the way I was operating, because I wasn't trying to be fake. That's just the pattern that I fell into, to be loved and accepted and received and not rejected by a crowd or a group or whatever. So so I share that with you because this stuff is really subtle. And part of it was that I had to go in and feel my emotions around being rejected by my dad, just plain and simple. And not just by him, but another father figure that was in my life for a very long time that just came home one day and he was gone. So it's like I had to really let those emotions be felt, let myself feel that stuff so that I could recognize, oh my gosh, I'm showing up in all these different spaces with these different masks, right? And allow myself to be vulnerable and authentic about what I experience, even now, day to day. And the more vulnerable you are, obviously, then you start to give other people permission as well to feel, to let them, that they get to love themselves no matter what. They're perfect in this moment, that they get to be loved and they get to be seen by you and by themselves first and foremost, so that we don't just have to operate in ways that we only believe will be accepted. So like I said, you got to, I miss you too, sweet Chelsea. I miss you too. I really do. Oh, you gave the best facials. You're just such a warming, beautiful personality. And I'm so fortunate because that's what I draw. That's what I draw into my field. I'm so fortunate. Like everyone who comes into my field, I'm just fortunate. I'm very, very grateful and appreciate all of you so much. Okay. And let's keep on track. So, like I said earlier, ask yourself questions. Be curious. What am I feeling? Does it remind me of anything or anyone? Where am I feeling it in my body? Close your eyes. Close your eyes and sway your body a little bit. Put your hand on a heart and a hand on your womb. You can even put your hand on your legs because, like for me, I carry a lot of old past tension in my legs. A lot of survival mechanisms reside in my legs and my hips. So you can just start to feel, and just start to you can massage yourself to calm yourself down. But we don't hug and we don't touch ourselves enough. And I'm not even talking about in a sexual way. I'm talking about just in a very genuine, I love me and just this feels good. Who doesn't love their arm being tickled? But we wait for somebody else to provide it for us, right? So just start to really be your own. I'm kind of getting off a little bit, but be your own nurturer. Be the person who loves you first. But then be curious about what it is I'm feeling. Oh, I feel this. It's in my heart. I feel sad. I feel sad. Oh, I notice I'm feeling sad because of, whatever. And sometimes, like I said, you won't know why. And that's okay too. But if you start to feel off and you don't know why, a beautiful way to start to navigate why and tap into the subconscious brain, bringing it back to the beginning, is to say, what was the thought that I just had? What was the thought before the feeling? Because a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times, we will have a thought and then a feeling right after it will pop up. But because we think so many thousands and thousands of thoughts per day, even though most of them are the same thoughts, we're not paying attention, right? We're not paying attention to what we're thinking. And Vipassana is a really beautiful practice of meditation that can help you really start to pay attention to what you're thinking. But Vipassana. I just said that backwards, sorry. But because we're thinking so many thoughts, we feel, and that's interesting because so much we don't allow our feelings, but we notice, I feel overwhelmed, I feel sad, I don't know why, where did that come from? Well, what was the thought that I just had? So you can pause and say, oh man, I was just thinking about this. And you may not know right away, but continue that practice, because the more you continue that practice, the more you'll start to understand what is going on in your subconscious brain. What are the underlying, because we think so many thoughts. The subconscious brain, I always relate it to and equate it to this record player. And most of you have heard me say this record player going on in the background. It's playing this song, but it always plays this song. So you're used to the song being there that you don't even notice it's there anymore. Well, the way we notice it's there is to say, what was the thought before the feeling? Before this feeling of yuck. Oh, if a lot of times, if nothing was triggered or nothing had occurred from something or someone, it was from a thought. So yeah, same these legs, root chakra. So, so just don't judge. Stay really judgment-free. Love yourself deeper. Just be gentle and easy on yourself, because this is a practice of going deeper into your self-love, into your self-worth, into your value. And self-worth and value are not the same thing. I really thought they were, and I learned real quick that they weren't. So your emotions are your medicine, because they really do hold the very gifts and answers you're searching for. Because it's in your emotions that we can begin to identify I think this is on the next screen, but we can begin to identify what is old trauma that is coming up to be healed and what are old patterns that are keeping me stuck. So what needs to be felt, old trauma, old wounds, feeling sad about the time I was abandoned, whatever it is, or just sad that, I'm remembering whatever it is. Or is this the old patterns of like, who am I to do this? What, blah, 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 blah. These are the ones that you don't need to sit and feel into, because these are the ones that your ego and your fear want you to feel to keep you stuck. All right. So I'm hoping I'm going to go a little bit more into that. But I want to just share with you before I forget, the way you work through this too. This is soul work. Feeling your emotions is part of soul work. It's part of being in your inner body. It's part of getting to really know yourself. It's soul work. It just is. And meditation, journaling, shadow work will all really help you identify what is the medicine that is wanting to be given to you through the emotions. What is the medicine? You guys, we have over 30 trillion unique cells in our body. We don't have the same fingerprint as anybody else. We don't have the same voice box as anybody else. So going back to the projection, people projecting and us expecting, managing expectations and all of this, we are not meant to have the same human experience. We are meant to have our own unique experience. And so when we get into our bodies and we rebuild that trust with ourselves through soul work, meditation, journaling, shadow work, inner child work, self-love practices, embodiment practices, like moving our bodies, like feeling the stuff and getting like raging, being our inner wild woman, all of that, life begins to transform and change. And no longer are we walking around the same circle, around the same block for the same 20 years. Right? And that is the medicine. All of the feeling of that is the medicine, but only you can know your dose. And the thing is also your voice is medicine. Like, we are gifted with our own unique energy to heal ourselves. Oh God, we weren't taught that. Can you imagine? That makes us so powerful. So, okay, really quick, before I get into I feel communication, I just want to continue to touch on, because a few of you had written this in your comments when you registered. Gosh, you guys, I had like 25 people register. I was so excited. I was like, yeah. So I know a lot of you will be watching the replay, which is perfect. And those of you that are here live, I'm perfect. Thank you. I love you. And okay, so going back to what to know, like what feelings to feel and what are keeping you stuck. So I'm just going to tell you right now, the stuff that is around, I don't deserve this. This will never happen for me. I am not worthy. Who am I to do this? Those are the patterns that you don't need to feel anymore. And you don't feel them by shifting. Those are the ones you can shift. You're not bypassing your emotions by shifting out of those ones. So you shift through disrupting patterns. And I teach a lot of this. I teach this in all of my courses: Flourish and Flow, Rebel Goddess, Self-Love Shadow Forgiveness series. But you disrupt your pattern. So I really, truly, I'm giving you guys, I'm gifting all of you so much of what I teach and I move through with my one-on-one clients. This is like stuff, like not only do I teach it, but I move through it with them so that they integrate it and they can transcend the BS, right? They can transcend the stuff holding them back. But you shift by disrupting patterns, by getting up and dancing, by toning, by singing, by saying, you know what, not anymore. And I say that a lot. I feel these old patterns of not believing in myself. And I know like that might not feel like seem real to you on the other side of the screen. I also struggle. I also don't believe in that I can achieve my dreams. I also have so much self-doubt that comes up. But it is up to me to manage my energy. It is up to me to choose differently. And I say, no, mother trucker, no. No, mother trucker, no. No, that is not who I am anymore. Because I know what I'm here to do. I know what I'm here to offer. And so it's just you choosing. It's you rewriting the script, you rewriting the pattern, because nobody else can rewrite it for you. Even with my clients, I can give them all the tools and I'll hold them and I'll give them practices and all of it. But at the end of the day, you have to choose. And it is really hard to make the choice because it feels scary. Because then if you begin to own and you say, no longer am I going to play the story of I'll never find the love of my life. No longer, like Like, oh, I'm never going to find the love of my life. Oh, and then you start to sit in that and you start to, that's your cycle, right? This is never going to happen for me. I'm never going to be successful. I'm so full of self-doubt. I'm so full of, I'm not worthy. I'm not pretty enough for the man of my dreams or the woman of my dreams. I'm not, whatever. My brothers and my sisters, that's the stuff you shift. That's the stuff you continually choose to say, no, I'm not living that pattern anymore. No, it is not serving me. I do deserve this. I love myself fiercely. And you look yourself in the mirror and you look yourself in the eyes and you say, no, I am this. And you say your declarations. I am a channel in light of God, the true source. I am a goddess, warrior, princess, earth, healer, medicine giver, whatever it is. I'm beautiful. I'm unique. I'm talented. I came here with unique gifts to give this world and to leave in this world. You've got to choose different. And nobody else can do that for you but you. So when we go back to what needs to be felt, if you're generally resisting, or you're not making the time to feel any kind of sadness that's coming up, that's maybe not attached to a story, that's stuff coming up to be healed. When you're replaying an inner child memory, like a memory from childhood, that's kind of painful, but you compartmentalize, that probably needs to be felt so it can come up to heal. And healing is not linear. It can happen in, hours, and it can happen in years. And know that you're perfectly perfect where you are, and that you deserve love exactly where you are, and exactly no matter how messy you feel and how just all of the stuff, you deserve to love yourself and you deserve love back. And that's how you start to identify which needs to be felt and healed. And no, it's something that can be like taught, but more importantly, it's actually something that needs to be felt by you. You are the only one that knows, is this something that needs to be felt? And you can ask yourself, is this something that needs to be felt? And your heart really answers in simple answers. Your heart will answer in a simple yes or a simple no, maybe 2 or 3 words, but not much more than that. If it starts to get really wordy, your ego has taken over and you've gone into your mind and you've stopped feeling. You started to try to think your way through versus feel your way through. We have a human body. We have this body. We have these senses. We have all of this for a reason. So utilize it, feel it, be with it. Hey, JC. Yeah, so this work is not just for women. This work is for everybody. And, shifting out of that blame and taking the radical responsibility is truly the way to freedom. And so moving into conscious communication, because I could honestly talk so much about what needs to be felt versus what doesn't need to be felt. And it can all be felt. Nothing's bad or good, but what will serve you versus what won't serve you, what will keep you stuck, 2 different things, right? So conscious communication, I call it, I feel communication, because that's how I remember to communicate this way. The pause and the breathe, how much are you reacting? How much are you reacting and pointing the finger? Pause and breathe first. And you can say, I feel, to yourself. I practice with yourself first, because a lot of times trying to do it with somebody else is like a hot mess and you'll just end up in an argument. And that's kind of part of the process of learning, right? We're all just like a bunch of big kids trying to figure out, where our power is. And like Marcy Locke says, we're all racing to be the first victim by saying, you did this, no, you did this, no, this is true. Well, I'm going to be the first victim. Like, it's kind of insane, So get into your body. And you can just walk away, or you can sway, or you can just kind of, I notice I am feeling so effing angry right now. I notice I'm feeling so effing, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel this way? I feel this way because so-and-so said this, and I am choosing to feel angry about it, right? Okay, what do I want? Well, I don't want to feel angry anymore. Okay, so where does this anger come from? And so you just start to really get curious and you start to feel it. But then when you go into the conversation with somebody else, this is how you begin to speak. I notice that I feel sad that you're angry at me for working late all the time. And I feel this way, right? Right, that's the why, right? I notice I feel sad. Why do I feel this way? Because it feels like you're angry at me for working late all the time. Well, what do I want? I want to create a situation that I can feel safe in working late, but I can also accommodate you and make you feel seen and loved and heard as well. And I would like to do this by insert whatever, right? I'm really simplifying the process because when there's like big emotions involved and it's layered and layered and layered from past pain, hurt, and distrust, it can be a little bit more difficult, but it can also be this simple. And so then you create new steps, right? But what ends up happening when you consciously communicate your emotions that you're feeling and you first practice with yourself first now, starting tonight and tomorrow, start noticing in the morning, how do you feel when you wake up? You start talking to yourself, I feel this. Oh, I'm feeling this. Oh, interesting, right? Oh, wow, I didn't even realize that. Like, you might start to see patterns. I know for a fact, depending on where I'm at in my cycle, I have 1 week right after I ovulate that I am just super annoyed with everything and everyone. I just know that's kind of my pattern. And so I can love myself through it. And the more I love myself through it, the less that pattern is actually, it de-strengthens, weakens. It weakens the pattern when I can love myself through it because I'm aware of it, right? And so start to just be curious with yourself first, notice first, in your body first. And then remembering too, like men and women, we communicate so differently. So educate yourself on how men and women communicate. Read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Read, the Queen's Code. Read, there's so much, the Heart of the Soul. There's so much amazing information out there. Take more courses like this. Take the free master classes. Sign up for stuff that you can start to really learn, because when we can be emotionally intelligent and communicate from emotional intelligence, imagine what that does for the rest of the world, for everyone around us, for our children, for all the generations above and below us. I mean, we can't, it's so big. It's so healing. I need some sage a little bit and some Palo Santo, but remembering too that with men, they really need communication around, hey, they need direct. I need this. Hey babe, I really, what did I ask Lex the other day? I can't even remember. I'm just going to say dishes. I don't even know if that was it, but I really need you to do the dishes tonight. I don't even have to justify. I don't have to say because I work late, because I'm on a call, because I really need you to do the dishes for me tonight, because it will provide me with so much relief tomorrow morning when I wake up and they're done. Like, men just need that layout. And then they'll be like, oh, versus, oh, you never do the dishes, and then blah, 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 blah. Right? And men also, you get to learn how to communicate with us women, which I should probably also be teaching on this call. But women, we want to be seen, and we want to be able to say, hey, I want to provide for you, right? We love knowing we're provided for. We love knowing that we're acknowledged, that our feelings matter, and that you're listening and you're seeing us. Like, I see you, I'm hearing you, I'm listening to you. Oh, I understand. So you're feeling this? Yeah. Oh, wow, babe. I can't even imagine. Wow, that must feel like really heavy. Or sad. I don't blame you for being sad. We don't want to feel bad for feeling our emotions, right? So at the end of the day, though, it's all up to all of us to take responsibility in a very radical way, radical responsibility for freedom. And so the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions that you ask yourself. And that was something by Marcy Locke. I forgot to put her name there. But the quality of questions of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask yourself. So again, going back to, am I looking for blame or solution? Am I looking to try to put this on outside of myself? I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling angry, I'm feeling overwhelmed. You did this, you made me feel. No, that's actually, you feel the way that you feel, which is valid and not to be argued, but it is nobody's fault that you feel the way that you feel, right? And so if you feel confused, like a lot of times in my life, I have felt like, I'm so confused, I don't know what to do. I'm confused about this, I'm confused about, it's always on the other side of it is clarity. But I've got to ask myself, you've got to ask yourself the questions of what you're feeling to get the clarity versus just sticking in confusion. So let's see. We are rocking and rolling. We are wrapping up. Oh, my giveaway. So let me come back to here real quick and I'll talk about the giveaway. So in closing, allow yourself the space to feel that which you are feeling. Allow yourself to get to know yourself and your subconscious patterns, because that is truly the path to healing. So even though your subconscious brain, your ego, and even your muscles and tissues in your bodies are going to want to keep you where you are because you've learned how to survive here. Survival doesn't mean comfortable anymore. And you owe it to yourself and you to love yourself deep enough to do this work. You do. And so it's a practice though. It's not easy, but what I will tell you, all of a sudden one day it starts to click and you're like, it doesn't feel like so much effort, but a practice is effort in the beginning. And I'm not going to BS you. It's not always easy, but nothing that's worth it really ever is. It's simple concepts, right? But not always easy to put into practice. So, allow yourself the practice of feeling. Oh, what was the thought before the feeling? Is this something that wants to come up to be felt? Is this an old pattern? Am I going to choose different? There are patterns and layers to this, but they're simple, right? It's simple stuff, but it's not necessarily easy because you are having to relearn stuff that you learned in the womb. You are having to reprogram things that you learned, but it's worth it. And what's amazing about the human body, the human, what am I trying to say? A human being who is dedicated, it will happen quickly. So don't give up on yourself. Keep trying, keep getting back up, repeat, rinse and repeat, because eventually it will become second nature. And eventually you will start to see changes in your life, changes in how your loved ones respond to you, changes in how you feel about your life. You're going to start to fall so much more in love with your life. And you're not going to start to see so much of what is wrong, what isn't enough, right? And anytime, gosh, there's so much. Somebody else asked about people pleasing. But anytime stuff comes up, you're going to be able to love yourself through it. And to answer the question, so somebody asked me about people pleasing. To answer your question about people pleasing is, again, it's the choice. It's the choice of deciding, am I going to fill my cup first? Am I going to keep filling everybody else's cup? So you guys, I know I'm almost at 90 minutes, but hang with me. I'm probably going to go over 5 minutes. That's it, 5 minutes. So we got maybe 10 minutes left tops, but it's worth it, I promise you. So anytime you're people pleasing, you're running around, you're filling everybody's cup, and you're like, oh, I'm so good, I'm taking care of everybody, I'm taking care of everybody. But what you don't realize is that you have these pictures that you're filling everybody's cup with. You don't have anything in the pictures. So if your family is holding the cups, they're going to be like, there's nothing in here. You didn't actually give me anything. What the heck? So that's what it's like when you're people pleasing. And it can feel really scary to stop. It can feel really scary to say no. And that is stepping into sovereignty, is honoring your yeses, honoring your nos, and knowing that it's going to be okay and you're going to be okay. And that the people that don't support that, they're okay to exit, or adjust to your new boundaries. But you not having boundaries and you not honoring what you're feeling, again, it really is all tied back to the emotions, honoring and empowering yourself through your emotions, saying, actually, this doesn't feel good anymore. This feels draining. It's not serving you anymore. So what is people pleasing when it feels draining, when it feels like it's coming from a should place versus a love place. And anytime you're operating from a should place, you're offering love from a lower vibrational point. You're saying, I love you, I'm doing this for you, but there's a lower vibration to it because I don't actually really want to. I just feel like I have to. I feel like it's the right thing to do, even though the right thing to do is to take care of you, right? But when you can take care of yourself first and you fill your cup up first and you honor your yeses and you honor your nos and it feels light, right? Light, truth is light, lies are heavy. So it feels light and it feels good. Then your pictures are full. So then you go and you're like, oh my gosh, my pictures. Oh, I even have more. There's another picture back here. I didn't even know that was back here. Let me give you some more too. And you and you and you and you. And you operate from a higher vibrational point of love. So you're able to give more love. And the more you're able to give from a higher vibrational standpoint, the more you're able to receive. So it just becomes this really beautiful cycle. So sometimes if you feel like, and this is something I've had to learn too, if I feel like I'm not receiving my desires, my dreams, more love, more being seen, all of that in my life, then where am I not giving it fully? And where am I giving it from a place of a little bit of fear, a little bit of lack, a little bit of, there's not enough here, but I'm still going to give it because I want to support and help. But I actually am kind of giving from a space of that I don't have enough for myself. Right. So I really wanted to touch on that people pleasing for all of you, because there was a lot. You guys, I will really thank you so much, because those of you that registered and in the comment section, I said, what is it that you want to get out of this? Because like, what the heck is empowered emotions? Like, I can give you all the layouts, but it encompasses so much, right? You all gave me such beautiful feedback, and I know that I'm not going to be able to get to out all of the answers and support you in each individual way. But my intention was to do the best that I could, right? And overgive and give you all that I've got. And so I want to share with you, let me look at comments. Hi, Brianna. So beautiful and powerful. Thank you for sharing your gifts. Thank you for always being so supportive and ugly and awkward at times. Yes. Hi, Daya. Yay. So glad you guys are here. So let's talk about the giveaway. So what I am doing, if I'm offering this to everybody, when you watch this, so those of you that are still here, you've watched the whole thing. If you share this on your Facebook page, but you share what most landed for you, what most resonated with, what you got out of this, right? Like Chelsea was like, this is gold. Like, what is it to you that you were like, oh my gosh, this was amazing? And you share something on your Facebook page, like, I'm not going to give you a script because I want it to feel real and I want it to feel good for you. But you share it on your Facebook page and you tag me. I'm going to enter all of your names into a beautiful little hat of sorts. I'll just do it as online. I'll just put all your names online. It'll raffle them. And I'm offering you a free soul session with me. So it's a 55 to usually 65-minute session where we deep dive what's coming up for you, what is wanting to be healed, whether it's where you feel stuck in your business, where you feel stuck in your relationship, where you feel stuck in life, where you feel over emotional, where you feel like this trauma is trying to come up, just whatever it is. And I'll guide you. I have ways that I prompt questions. So you're not just coming to the call like, I don't know, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? I guide you. Like, I have a beautiful way that I connect with you, which is valued at $155. And I'm going to gift you my favorite book. So, I have a lot of favorite books, which is, it's either going to be, and I'm going to give you the choice of Happy Pocket Full of Money or Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth and A New Passion Planner. So I'm gifting all of that to, one person. I might choose two names, but one of them just won't get the Passion Planner. To all of you who just kindly share, like, just your gift back to me for just this beautiful exchange is just to share with your friends, share with your loved ones. Hey, I took this masterclass. I listened to this masterclass. It's only 95 minutes, right? And this is what I most got out of it. And this is who hosted it. And that would mean the world to me. That would mean so much to me, and to just let that ripple effect go out, and so that more people can receive this information. And thank you so much for tuning in. And what I will do is I'm going to be choosing a winner on Sunday. So everyone that tags me, I will write your names down and make sure that on Sunday I do the raffle and I'll contact you if you win. And then some extra support, some ways to work with me. I have a space to work with me one-on-one in a 3 or 6 month container. By application only, so just reach out individually if that's something that you're interested in exploring. I'm also offering this, I've never offered this before, but I'm offering a 1-month support session for mind, body, spirit support. We're going to do, again, a 55-minute deep dive healing call for you, and then 2 weeks of full messenger support, so that anything that comes up during the time after our call, like, oh, I'm noticing this, how do I work through this? I don't quite understand, like, I'm noticing now I play victim, but how do I actually start to change and show up differently in my relationships with that, right? How do I shift my communication? Or I'm in a fight right now, or I'm experiencing this. I don't quite know what's the conscious communication I can use here. I'm here for all of that. And what I may actually do too is sneak in an Akashic Records reading as well. Yeah, that feels right for me. And then my next offering for all of you, I am so excited about this. I'm so excited about this. So I am not opening up Flourish and Flow for enrollment, but what I am doing is I am taking my foundational modules that I feel like are such a beautiful space to start, or even deepen roots that you may have already planted, to deepen your roots in your spiritual journey, in your personal development, in your practice of self-discovery. I'm offering you my 5 modules my like foundational modules around meditation. It's going to be self-study, but I'm offering 2 group support calls. Self-study. So you've got my meditation module, my journaling module plus journaling prompts, my morning routine module, and I give you the work with it. So not only do you get like the module, but you get the supporting work with it. My discovering your normal module, which is all so powerful. It's just like this like your normalcy. What does that mean for you? How do you operate in that? How do you get more authentic and allowing what wants to come through? All about sacred herbs. So that module, plus I am gifting you in this shielding and energetic hygiene module, so that you know every day, because this is actually a question I get a lot, is found what is shielding? How do I clear my energy? Like what in the heck? So I'm gifting all of that to you. That is over a $700 value. Plus I'm giving 2 support calls, Q&A support calls in June for those that sign up for this in the private Facebook group. And the access opens on Monday. It's only $222 to receive these, and you get them forever. There's self-study pace, so you get them all right when you log in. When I give you the access on Monday, you log into your classroom. It's all there for you to have now and forever. And then you also get during the month of June, I will have a special group for all of you that anytime you watch a module or different things come up, you can put in the group anything that's coming up, and I will be there to support you and answer all of the questions, which is huge. And plus be there for the Q&A and support calls. So if that's something you're interested in, I also have a payment plan for 2 months by $155 a month. And if you're like, I really, really want to do this, but can I do a 3-month payment plan? Yes, because I never want money to be the issue or the reason of why you're not choosing yourself and why you're not expanding and growing and developing and doing what you feel called to do. So those are my offerings for you. And I'm so, so, so excited to connect deeper and to hold space. I know some of you out there are feeling the pull to work with me one-on-one. And if you are, just reach out. I'm so excited about who's going to fill my next space. But in the meantime, I've got these lower investment packages to support you. And I'm here in all kinds of ways. And I'll continue to offer, free masterclasses like this when I'm guided to. And I cannot thank you enough. I'm at 95, almost 96 minutes. I love you. Love you so, so much. Those of you that are on Zoom, I'll hang on for a second and just see if you have anything you want to share, have any questions, and I will see you all soon. I love, see you, and honor you. Thank you. Bye.